Hey there, Evan Nathaniel Grimm. Thank you so much for joining my Cancer full moon forecast. This full moon is occurring on January 6th, 2023 at 3:07 p.m. Pacific time. Before I begin, track where 16 degrees of Cancer is in your birth chart. This is where you're bringing something to fruition, completion, or you may be manifesting or even releasing something. So today I'm going to be talking about this full moon and what it means for you. But also, if you'd like a reading from me, please do so by clicking the link down below. Also, I'm hosting an astrology retreat in Croatia next September. There are still spots available. So if you want to spend a week with me in Croatia and get some custom astrology insights from me, also sign up through the link down below. And if you want to see what's coming for your sign throughout 2023, I'm also selling 2023 forecast videos through my website, which is also down below, and a number of other channels are below as well. So I'm going to share my screen today, and we're going to walk through the Cancer full moon and how it affects you. So here we've got it loaded up. Now, the Cancer full moon is, it's every year we have a Cancer full moon. Now, this particular full moon I'm calling healing through self-reliance. So let's start to unpack like why this theme is sort of prevailing. So first of all, as I said, track where 16 degrees of Cancer is in your chart. And anytime you have a new moon or a full moon, you're speaking to the entire polarity and axis of two signs. So in this case, we have the Cancer full moon, which is highlighting Cancerian themes, which is really about our own internal emotional nurturing. It's also the establishment of our home, sort of our insularity, our protection, who we protect, who we defend, and again, how we kind of give ourselves a little TLC. Now, Capricorn, on the opposite side, is more about establishing yourself in a profession, committing to a career path. It's about accomplishment, and it's really also about social conditioning. So we're kind of highlighting this balance between work, our work lives, and our own home lives, and our emotional nurturing. Now, cardinal signs, which is both Capricorn and Cancer, are about sort of executive action and initiation and leadership. And so what exactly are the themes for this full moon? So like I said, the title of this is Healing Through Self-Reliance. So just for some context, we're in the thick right now of Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde in a Mercury-ruled sign. So we have sort of just passed also the Venus-Pluto conjunction. So there is a heightened intensity in relationships based on revisiting some elephants in the room because of the Mercury retrograde and the Venus-Pluto conjunction that just occurred, which, by the way, may have been a rehash of some themes that you experienced in December 2021 and January of 2022 when Venus was retrograde and passing Pluto. So anyways, this is a surprising turn from the Capricorn new moon that preceded this full moon. That Capricorn new moon was very strong. And on top of this, I think this is really the highlight of this full moon. We do have the Cancer full moon creating a T-square with Chiron, the centaur associated with healing. So this is where we're starting to get into the healing theme. So Cancer full moons can bring up a lot of personal emotions for people tied to either the family or the nurturing process. So when it's connected to Chiron, all of a sudden, we are experiencing vulnerabilities and insecurities and, tending to those in response to some type of conflict or maybe emotional dispute. And that depends on your rising sign, but really the cardinal sign. So if you have your sun, moon, or rising in Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra, then you're most likely going to experience this full moon as, yes, a conflict with a parent, a partner, some other family member, or a significant person in your life, or maybe even an authority figure. Now, these conflicts will probably conjure old wounds because we have Mercury retrograde. We're revisiting things, and they may even be directly or indirectly tied to relationship difficulties that you've had over the past few weeks or 2 weeks or so with, or really week or so with Venus and Pluto conjunct. But all the other signs too will probably experience this in other domains, like through friend groups, through coworkers, through just everyday communication, through a clash over worldviews or value systems. So every sign is going to experience this crest of this wave of very vulnerable emotions. Now, you might be thinking that that is inherently challenging, or that we might be stuck with this energy. And what is the way forward? Well, the good news is that we do have Jupiter back in Aries, which is encouraging us to place faith back in ourselves, because Aries is the self. Now, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter is also associated with the Centaur. So when we think about Sagittarius, the Centaur is half animal, half human. Sagittarius is all about really overcoming our primal animal drives and aiming higher with the Centaur, with the arrow, aiming higher and aspiring to something more spiritual. So when Jupiter is in Aries, we're really in touch with our primal drives. We're really in touch with our innate energies, but we are trying to transmute that into something more purpose-driven. So maybe it's with Jupiter in Aries, it's kind of like, I have a purpose that eventually goes outside myself, or I would like to assert myself in a way that goes beyond my impulses. Because Jupiter wants to take you beyond your impulses and into these higher dimensions of perspective of, what is the truth? What are the natural laws? What are the images and the symbols that we all experience throughout generations, throughout millennia? So when I think about the composite of all of these trends that I've discussed, this full moon is an evaluation of our emotional stability and strength amidst our renewed focus on a long-term goal. Now, that's because the Capricorn new moon was quite strong, and it was about embarking on a new journey related to our professional lives, or maybe our financial lives. And it's really about, what do we want to accomplish in the next year, 5 years, or 10 years? So now the Cancer full moon is a rebalancing of saying, okay, as I ascend higher, in these professional domains, what emotional pain have I not uprooted or pulled out? And pay attention around January 6th. How do you encounter these emotional insecurities and vulnerabilities? For some of you, it may come up again through a friend group. For others, with a partner. So anytime we have a Cancer full moon around this time of year, emotions are brought to the surface for everybody. But when it's squaring Chiron, there's almost this unavoidable confrontation with your biggest weaknesses. So for example, maybe you are a very successful business person, and you've just drafted your business plan for 2023, and it's looking pretty good. You have some sense of what are your goals for, like, gross margin, profit margin, etc. But as you venture into this Cancer full moon, maybe you realize that you've overlooked the quality and health of your relationship. And your partner says, well, you forgot about our dinner plans, or you forgot that you were going to cook dinner for me tonight, or, you had planned this thing, and you were so obsessed with your Capricorn kind of ambitions that you suddenly realize, like, oh yeah, I'm not nurturing our relationship, or I'm not nurturing myself. Or maybe your partner brings up something that is very triggering to you. Maybe they say, oh, I'm going to go hang out with so-and-so tonight. And for whatever reason, maybe they have a history together, you have a little bit of a sensitivity towards this person, and it re-triggers jealousy issues for you. And so you say to yourself, well, maybe I'm going to hit my profit margin goals for Q1 or something, or Q4 last year, but I have a lot of other very personal things that are important that I have to tend to and I have to address. So that's really, to me, the Cancer full moon, and it's opposing Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde is pretty much conjunct the sun. So the sun is solarizing and illuminating that which we need to confront and revisit. So the key questions for this full moon are, how can I support myself emotionally as I embark on, let's say, my New Year's resolutions or my professional plans? Am I supported by my friends, my family, my partners emotionally? And as part of that, to rope in the Jupiter and Aries energy, am I relying too much on others for healing and support? Or can I find this within? So for example, if you are in a relationship and you tell people, she keeps me in check. That's why that's why I love her. She keeps me in check. She keeps me grounded. So, a counter argument to that could be, do you need somebody to ground you? Or can you be the ground? Can you find a way to ground yourself and then reach out and find people who just enhance you as you are, that you are already complete, and other people just enhance you. Because Chiron in Aries is about a chip on the shoulder and a sense of rejection within ourselves, that we may reject ourselves in a lot of ways. But once we get closer to self-love and self-acceptance, we might realize that we don't need to hold on to certain partnerships that have actually been dragging us down, that have actually been kind of like, those relationships have been like an energy vampire in our lives. So I see this as a sequence of events where there is this heightened emotion tied to this agitated conversation or experience, but that highlighting and illuminating the ways in which we need to be comfortable and satisfied with ourselves, and really empower ourselves and rely on our own strength. So this full moon is kind of tricky, but now that you're watching this video and you are aware of the themes, this gives you the tools, I think, to navigate it more easily. Now, the ruler of this full moon is the moon. So the moon rules over Cancer. So the moon is in Cancer. And so the hard aspects to Chiron are amplified even more. So again, the questions become, how do I get closer to self-love? How do I reclaim self-empowerment and self-confidence? Now, as sort of an auxiliary consideration to this, we are weeks away at this point from all the planets being direct. And by the way, Chiron has just gone direct. So let me just quickly reverse this a couple days to find that point. So Chiron went direct around shortly after the Capricorn new moon. So shortly after the Capricorn new moon, in late December, Chiron went direct. So theoretically, it should be easier for you in a lot of ways to move forward in your healing journey in response to these conversations and these situations and these encounters. Now, when Chiron's retrograde, we're more internalizing our healing journey, but I still think for a lot of people, this will force an internalization and a reflection of how far, what is my progress meter in my healing journey? Do I need to talk to somebody about it? So, and I want to be clear about this. This is not necessarily a full moon to try to do it all on your own. But hopefully through discussing with friends or family or your partner about, and getting that support from them, they give you that extra push to place faith in yourself. So for many people, and I talk about this in my January 2023 forecast, which is on YouTube and TikTok and other channels, many people may bring up their vulnerabilities to maybe a friend group and say, I do need help with this situation. And so they're asking, many of you are going to be asking for support. But as you get that from that person or those people, Jupiter in Aries is right behind Chiron to say, now you can get there. You have the tools and the strength to get there. And I think we live in a society where we are constantly in a corrective situation, where we're asking someone to correct us. We're asking someone to help us and to fix us. And we're asking to be conditioned, meaning we're asking to be told that we maybe have a condition or that we have a bias. And when we really break it down, everybody has biases and issues and problems and things that they could do better in. But at the same time, I would argue most of the problems that we are sort of told that we have are things that we can correct eventually on our own through natural means. So Jupiter in Aries is giving you the power to meditate on your strengths and on yourself and say, I've been a great musician my whole life. Why did I walk away from that? Or, I'm really good at healing others. I thought about, some people told me to do Reiki and I never really got into it, but now maybe this is your chance, right? So a lot of the problems, quote unquote, that we encounter, we just need someone to be a sounding board to tell us you have what it takes to get there, to move past this, to surmount the odds. So yes, it is challenging. Yes, it requires some amount of support, but ideally you kind of want to use this to toughen up a little bit after. Be able to walk forward on your own. It's kind of like that last mile. Like maybe you're already close to the next phase of your journey. You just need to run that extra 2 miles. you know, and even if it's in the blistering sun and you're sweating and it's not easy, you can still get there through yourself, sort of the fire within yourself. So, and also healing through self-reliance is important, because once Saturn enters Pisces in March, it may become more challenging for some people to grapple with certain emotional challenges. So that concludes my video. Hope this was informative for you. And again, if you want to see how this affects, you know, your rising sign, and you know, go check my January 2023 forecast, because I do kind of dive into more details about impacts to each sign in January. But again, if you want a reading from me, book that. If you want to see what's coming in 2023, download that. If you want to spend a week with me in Croatia, which, by the way, you get a complimentary birth chart reading at that, then register for the retreat. So I want to thank you again, and take care.